session 8, part E, a few little practical skills with your baby. Okay, welcome back. So we're looking at a few little practical skills then with your baby, and maybe the first one that we should talk about is changing your baby's nappy. So often, you know, that first nappy after the baby's born, we've already mentioned it to me. It's the baby's passing what we call meconium, so it's thick, black, tarry poo and extremely sticky. Yeah. So my first top tip to you would be to clean that, as much of that away as you can with something dry. I'm going to try and sort of demonstrate a little bit here I've got two stools on top of each other here, so it's very tricky, but hopefully I can demonstrate to you this. And I'm right-handed as well, so I'm doing it as a, the side I wouldn't normally stand. I'm sort of doing it as a left-handed person a little bit here, so it's kind of awkward, yeah? So that first nappy change, I would say to you, and often it's the partners that do the first nappy change, I would say to take the baby grow off, yeah? Because I'm going to leave it on because I'm, experienced at this. But if you're not, I would say take it off, because absolutely, once you start to undo things, other items of clothes that you didn't mean to get messed up might well get messed up, if you know what I mean. So, taking off the old nappy and trying to clear away as much as you can just with that first clean, and leaving that nappy underneath. Yeah, and then with I wouldn't use a cotton wool ball. I'd use one of those little makeup removing pads. Yeah, so it's not impregnated with anything. It's just like a little square or a little round of cotton wool, but it's much more compressed. Yeah, because if you try to use cotton wool balls, often bits of it stick to the baby and all the rest of it. So I would say use those makeup removing discs, or the little square pads that are, they're completely dry, they're just compressed cotton wool. Yeah. So first of all, wipe as much of the poo away with one of those dry. Yeah. So if you've got a little boy, because all the genitalia is external, it's not so important. But if you've got a little girl, go from the front to the back and discard. With a new pad thing, go from the front to the back and discard. So try and clean it as much as you can first, and then wet one in some water, in one of those makeup removing pads, the compacted cotton wool in, wet it in some water, and then you can start to clean the baby's bottom. If you just start off with wet ones, then it's just it's like having a saucepan of fat that's or a frying pan with some fat in the bottom that's gone solid, and if you put a few drops of cold water or cool water on the top, what happens is it just sits on the top in little globules, and you just kind of end up by spreading it around more. So my tip to you would be to clean it with something dry first, and then when it looks socially clean, give it a proper clean with some wet makeup removing pads. Now I very carefully say I don't say baby wipes, because although that there's lots of wipes out there that are 99.9% water and all the rest of it. The guidance from our trust is that we recommend that you still avoid those really in that first few months of life. It's better to just use ordinary water, okay? And you don't need to pre-boil it or anything like that, just warm tap water is absolutely fine. Okay, so then of course when you put the clean new nappy back on this time, what you're going to see is you're going to see the cord. And if I show you a picture again of a new healthy a brand new baby with its cord, you can see it looks thick and quite juicy there. And ideally, when you change the nappy, you can have the cord sitting above the nappy, because if the cord is below the nappy or within the nappy, then it's going to stay wet and soggy for longer and take longer to dry up and drop off. If you can, put the cord so the cord sits above the nappy, but if that's not possible, then just turn the nappy down so then the cord does sit above. I don't know if you can see that. So it's all white, isn't it? So it's quite difficult to see, but then turn that down. Or if you wanted to, you could anchor it that way so that it sits like that, so that the cord will always sit above rather than tucked inside. There are on the market, you can get nappies that have got like a little cutout bit. Some mums tell us that actually they sort of rub on the cord area there. So you're better to have the ordinary ones that are more padded, but just turn them back. Okay, so that's about the nappies. Okay, let's then think about bathing the baby. That kind of, how soon after I've had my baby can I bath my baby? Most people would wait until the cord has dried up and dropped off before they bath the baby. Part of that is because of the natural flora still in the early days in the baby skin, but also part of it is because when you bath the baby, if the cord is still there and you make it wet, you've got to dry around it. And people are often quite squeamish about the cord. So it does start off by looking like this. And I don't know if you can see in the picture the little peg that's there pinching that cord, together when it was, it was clamped here, and then clamped here when it was, still attached to you. Then the cord was cut here. So you can see this is fairly, sort of a new baby, because the cord still looks quite thick and juicy and jelly-like. The cord begins to dry. It goes a little bit black, it goes a bit crunchy. I always think it reminds me a little bit like a burnt quaver because by the time it's ready to drop off, that's kind of what it looks like. Yeah, it can take about a week to 10 days to dry up and drop off. When it does, just throw it away. It takes that sort of length of time, and as it's beginning to dry up and drop off, people often a bit nervous you can, it's dead decaying tissue, the baby doesn't feel it, you can pick it up and dry around it, but people are often a bit squeamish to do so. So it's better to wait till the cord is dried up and dropped off, most people would say, and that way it makes life a whole lot easier. Sometimes, however, the babies do such a pooey nappy that all the poo perhaps goes up their back and that kind of thing, and you think cotton wool and baby wipes, the makeup removing pads, oh my goodness, I'm never going to be able to tackle that sort of a pooey bottom, and the only answer is to put the baby in the bath. And if you're going to do that, then that's perfect. There's not a problem with that. But I would say to you that in the early days, putting the baby in the washing up bowl in the sink is quite a useful place to, if you've got, when you do start bathing the baby, or if you have to bath the baby earlier than you plan to because of a really pooey nappy, a washing up bowl in the sink's a really good place to do it, because in the washing up bowl in the sink, of course, it's at a good height for you. And if it's particularly, for example, if you're someone that's had a cesarean section, leaning right over the bath, or even if you've got the bath, a baby bath in the bath, tipping it out again is really tricky. So therefore, the baby in the washing up bowl in the sink can be a really useful way to tackle this. When you do bath your baby, get everything ready first. That's the thing, really. Get everything ready, then undress your baby, and then wrap them back up in a towel, and then with them tucked under your arm like this, so you've got them really nice and safely, then what you can do is you can start by washing their hair. So you've got them under your arm like this, they're nice and safe and secure, you've got the towel wrapped around them, so they're, you know, they're nice and warm still, having you just undress them. And then, you know, put your hand in the washing up bowl and just bring some water up and just gently wash their hair. Yeah, so that's, you know, that's nice to do. And then when you've got the towel, if I just bring it over here, then hopefully I can show you. When you did the towel, put the towel around the baby, what I should have shown you is that if you turn the top third down, lots of you I expect will have the little toweling little hoodie things that you'll use. You won't need to do this, but you can. If that's in the wash, you can do it this way. So you have an ordinary towel and you turn a third of it back. I hope you can see that there. So that means when you have washed the hair, you can then turn that third that you've already turned back up, and you can then dry your baby's hair like this. Yeah, so that makes life very much easier for you. Then once you've done that, then you can unveil the baby again. So take the towel away, and now you're going to put the baby in the washing up bowl in the sink. Yeah, and this, as I say, again, is quite tricky because I'm you know, trying to show you on the camera, but actually, you know, if you were you know, doing this in the washing up bowl by the sink, then you have got, of course, you know, draining board, lots of, you know, useful surfaces alongside of you that's going to make, you know, maybe that much easier to do. So when you're going to put your baby in the bath or in the washing up bowl, a good way to have it is to have your hand behind the back of the baby's neck, and you're going to have your thumb and your finger round the baby's arm like this. Yeah, so you've got the baby really well supported, really well supported. Now you can lower the baby into the water. So obviously you've checked the water, you felt the temperature, it feels absolutely fine to put your baby in. It's nice, sort of not too hot, not too cold, lovely sort of a good temperature. You can use a baby thermometer, or you can, you know, the old way, putting your elbow in, whichever works for you, but just a nice temperature for your baby. So then I would say to you, when you put the baby in the water, don't just put them in the middle like this, because often they go, wow. My tip to you is, if you imagine where my hand is, it's the end of the washing up bowl. So when you lower the baby in, you've got it like this, then you can remove this hand, yeah? But make it so that the baby's feet are against the edge of the washing up bowl. Because just like now, when they're inside of you and, you know, they're pushing against you, that's really reassuring. They feel that, you know, your tummy, you know, your back, they feel you there. And just in the same way, when they're in the middle of the washing up bowl, they might think, oh, where am I? Ah. Whereas when they've got their feet against the edge there, they're often a lot more settled, and they often, you know, a lot calmer in the water. So you've got your baby in the washing up bowl, you've got it held like this, nicely supported. And then you can just, with this hand, because you've got the baby so nicely supported now, you can just put some lovely water all over your baby, just like we were talking about earlier on with the 5 to Thrive, about interacting with your baby, chatting with your baby, talking with your baby, soothing your baby at this time. Now, once you've done that, you can then slide your hands back in underneath again, lift the baby out, and place your baby on your towel that you've got ready. And then you can just wrap the baby up in the towel, and then just cuddle your baby dry. So you're going to dry everything that you can just in that cuddly way first, and then you can start thinking about going into all the little creases and all the rest of it then. Okay, so we started off by doing the hair. What I should have also mentioned to you at that point as well is, after you've done the hair, you can also do the face and the neck, because obviously that's the easiest and best time to do that. So again, with maybe the makeup removing pad, just wet it, and then you can wipe round the face, avoiding the eyes, going behind the ears, making sure you go around by the neck where all the, you know, sometimes all the dribble just sits, yeah? And do all of that first before you undress them, and then put them in the bath. Bring them out, wrap them in the towel, cuddle them dry, and then make sure all the other little nooks and crannies are all the little crevices everywhere is all nice and dry, and then you can redress your baby. May I just say also, just to mention, earlier on in one of the other videos, I think we may have mentioned that sometimes, you know, obviously when the babies are born, initially it depends on how how many weeks through the pregnancy you birth them. If the babies were born sort of 37, 38 weeks, they may have on them when they're first born some more of what we call vernix, which looks like thick moisturiser, white moisturiser, thick, almost like goose fat over them. That's quite naturally on them when they're inside of you, because that stops them, that sort of works as a moisturiser for them while they're in that water all the time, to stop their skin from drying out. Yeah. So the nearer they are to that 40 weeks and beyond, the more of that's already been absorbed. So if your baby's born at 41 weeks, or it's unlikely to have lots of that moisturiser still obvious on their skin. But if they have got any, when they're first born, we'll just wipe it off. But if they've got any, in the creases under their arms, in their groin, in the vaginal area for the little girls, don't be prodding about to try and get that off. You'll find when you dress them, when you take the nappy off, when you take the clothes off the next time, it'll have all been absorbed into the system. So that's quite natural, and that's a good moisturiser for their skin. Okay, I think that's quite a lot of information, hopefully enough for you for now, on a few practical skills.